Chat of the Wild is a part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. To find out more information, as well as other great shows, go to greenlitpodcast.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chat of the Wild.
Gaiden.
In this season, we are playing through Oceanhorn, Monsters of Uncharted Seas.
Just monster, I thought. I thought it was just a singular monster.
Monster of Uncharted Seas? Monsters of Uncharted Sea. I don't know.
Oh, man, that sea is messed up. It's got so many monsters in it.
Pick your plurals. In our last episode, we woke up, we talked to an old man, he gave us a key, we got on a boat. End of story. Or was it? So now we have the world opened up to us. Unfortunately, the world is mostly water, except for two islands, one way too high up and one that is just right.
Oh, yeah. It came out of the ground. As soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, this is definitely a mobile game. It just has that feel to it of a sideways phone and like, here comes the new thing.
Sure.
I just the way the animation of the mountain coming out of the water, I was just like, I do feel like I'm holding a phone right now.
So, I mean, you bring that up, and I don't know. I think it's worth just talking for a second. Just like, this is a mobile game from like 7 years ago. But honestly, even looking at it now, I still feel like it's comparable compared to something like we just played Ari. Like, in terms of quality overall, like, it's not like an immediate parallel, but like there are some things where I'm just like, I still think this game actually holds up in certain regards.
I definitely think it doesn't hold up in some regards, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
I think it's fine. It just sometimes you'd be like, yeah, that's a mobile game right there. Like just look at it. I don't know. Yeah.
I just challenge if you never knew that this was originally a mobile game, would you think that? Like, would you ever come to that conclusion on your own, as opposed to like if I brought it up, you'd been like, you know what, that does make sense.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Would you have known Majora's Mask was a rushed game if you hadn't known?
How could I? It's perfect. So like, why would I ever think that they rushed? They took, as far as I know,
We'll never
years
know.
to make it.
We'll never know.
So we get an island. Tickerel is the first island.
That's how
that
I
we
said
get
it.
access to. We go there, and this is how we're going to move from island to island. It's automated. You pick the island and it goes. You can stop in the middle of it and reroute, which is nice. It's not like you're locking yourself into that and you just are stuck there. But the first time we do it, there's nothing for us to do but sit there.
Mm-hmm.
And we just sit and watch it, and we bump into stuff, and we're fine, but there's nothing to do.
And I was so confused when we started. Like, I started bumping into the crates floating in the ocean, the floatsome and jetsome, if you will. But I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to steer around this, and I spent forever trying to figure out how to move my boat, and you can't move your boat.
No.
You would think that if you auto move from island to island, they would at least let you avoid crates that are
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, it's a strange design. The thing is, we do get an item with our next level up that gives us a pumpkin shooter, which is a little gun that can only be used in the boat. So it's possible. I think you could have potentially leveled up on the first island and got that if you stayed there and killed a bunch of enemies over and over.
You would have had to kill a bunch of enemies. It would have taken a while, but yeah, you could have done it.
But it was possible.
Yeah, that's why we have the respawning enemies, is so that we can always have access to XP if we need it.
Right.
Sometimes in this series, we'll get to a game and be like, wow, how did this happen? Did you know that this game was kind of a lot like the last Zelda game we played? They kind of go together. We can't blame the patrons for picking out a game, though, that is a lot like the game we're going to be playing next, where you chart your course. You can't really do anything while you're on the ocean. and then you get to an overhead section. So Phantom Hourglass kind of feels like the sailing and movement in this game.
And potentially, I don't know if we do the sequel is actually closer to something like a Twilight Princess. So if we like flip those things around, you know, it's a behind the shoulder Zelda-like, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the perfect parallel is in terms of Zelda for that game. I haven't played it myself yet. But yeah, I know what you mean. These two are very similar, especially like, you know, the camera angle is above there. It's not in the exact same position as Phantom Hourglass, but it's generally, you could kind of say they're the same style.
Yeah, a little bit.
So we get into Tikkerel, and this is just your normal town. Not really a lot to do here. You can talk to people. You can find messages in a bottle on the shore that will give you access to new islands. If someone mentions an island, your knowledge of that now gives you the coordinates to go there. You know, just to be too logical about it. Like, it's a video game. You got it. You unlocked it. It's area unlocked.
Yeah, it's some adventure. The adventure aspect of the action adventure game. Like, go around and talk to people. They'll reveal new locations and tell you things.
And we got access to like 3 other islands on Tikkerel, I believe, if you look at all the bottles and talk to everybody.
I think like 3 or 4. So like 2 islands you can actually do something of substance, and then the other 2 are just tiny islands with 1 or 2 things on them.
Yeah, which there will be more things that you can do at these locations later. So every time you go onto the map, we do see an overall, there's a completion number at the top, but if you highlight an island, it will also tell you an individual completion for that island. So if there's something where you're like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go, you could look on your map, click on a couple of these to see like, oh, this one says I'm only like 20% done with this one when everything else is like 50%. So maybe there's something there that I have yet to do. So that just a little tip going forward on there. You know, really what we need in this island is to talk to enough people to get, or either find the bottle. I think we talked to someone to get the location for Bomb Island. Great name.
Yeah, there's a guy walking around, I thought. Yeah, he says like, you should go to Bomb Island. There's a Bomb Island. They sell bombs on Bomb Island. I was like, I thought the merchant back there sold bombs. I guess he doesn't sell them to me. Plus, we only have like 40 coins.
Yeah, he's got some stuff on there to get, but all of it is way too expensive for us right now. Fortunately, we're gonna, you know, in this episode, I at least leveled up like 3 times and got a bunch of coins, bonuses for my leveling up, which is cool, I guess. I don't remember in my first playthrough of this being as flush with coins as we were with like Twilight Princess, you know?
Yeah, the best way to get coins seems to be completely full on health, be completely full on all of your items, and then the drops, like the grass or whatever, will only drop money because like this, and in another game that we're playing for side quests, Turnip Boy, items only fall when you need them. So if you cut something open and you are missing health, there will be health items, but there's never just a stray health item when you chop grass down and you're full on health. So best way to get money is to have everything full, and the game can only give you coins.
That's pretty reflective of real life. Best way to have money is just to already have everything you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we can do some exploring around here where there's some like there's like a house you come across that's just like, don't go in this house.
I tried forever to get in that house.
So you can get in the house once you have the bombs.
Yeah,
right. Eventually, yeah. We'll come back to here and we'll go into there.
There's a cave all the way on the back of the island that is behind a locked door. But you can like sequence break around the shore. There's a spot in the beach that if you stand and you can barely make it to the other side before you drown. But I don't think I was able to like really gain anything from that other than see where the fireworks are going to be at Humming Hill, because we run into the firework man who worships the sun god with fireworks.
Yep.
So you can get up there a little early, but there's not really much for you to do up there.
And I think this is my first thing where I wasn't having a great time with this game, is that I know we're looking for the forest temple, and we get access to 4 different islands, but someone just describes an island and you're like, oh, well, I can go to this place or go to this place, but there's a sign that says Road to Forest Lookout, and
Yeah.
the Forest Lookout is, I guess, is just that square area where there's like 2 trees. So I spent forever looking for a way to get to the Forest Lookout on this island, and there is no.
Yeah.
So
No.
I went to the bomb island
Yeah.
because like there's a sign that says, "Oh, always have bombs with you." So I went to bomb island, got bombs, came back, got into that house that they draw attention to, and they're like, "Someone was here," and that's it. There's nothing else.
Someone
you can do
lives
to the
here.
house.
Someone seems to live here. There's some oil in here. You can get some bombs. Yeah, someone lived here.
Yeah, this does have more. It's very akin to like a point and click adventure game where it's just like click on everything in the screen to progress forward. Like you got to combine every item to see what works on it, because the reality is, we do know that we have to go to the Forest Temple. We were told that is where one of the key items are. But in order to do that, we have to go to Bomb Island, and then when we're at Bomb Island, that gives us access to another island, and then we save someone there on that island who then says, here's a Forest Temple. Now, we weren't told necessarily, oh, in order to get to the Forest Temple, you have to go to this island first. It's like, go to there, and that's all you're left with, and then you have to talk to every single person until one person says the thing that's relevant to what you're doing in that moment.
Yeah, no. Adventure game is that flavor is a good comparison, because the first time you play an adventure game, you don't know what the hell you're doing, but second time through, once you know everything that's going on in Myst, you can just be like click, 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 and you're done in 10 minutes. Like so, this whole sequence to get to the dungeon didn't really take that long, except I had no idea what the hell they wanted from me, and so it took me a while.
Yeah, and I think my confusion too was just in the format that we do things. We typically, we pick a dungeon to go to, and we go to that dungeon. So Bomb Island is a mini dungeon. There is a boss, even though it's not much of a boss. And so I'm doing that, and I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Really? Like,
Yeah.
I got to go to the Bomb Island, I got to go to the desert, and then I got to go to this other place to get to the place I was trying to go to in the first place.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fair. It's still and not the most intuitive design, right? Like, this is something that does feel more like an older game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would expect this in a game that was like late in like, even like late GameCube PS2 era of this kind of thing, where these third person action adventure games are designed in such an obtuse way. Where like you needed those guides back then. Like, we don't necessarily need player's guides or anything like that anymore, because games will give you so much more information to like guide you forward in general.
I would compare this to like late NES, era overhead, action adventure game. Like, that's where I went with it.
Look, I wouldn't go that far back, okay? But if we're talking, even if you could talk, even PS1 era, like, we have played a PS1 game that's a Zelda-like that was really hard to figure out exactly where they wanted us to go, and they did all this stuff. But like, I don't think you have to go that far back for this one. Like, I think there was a leap somewhere in like late 2000s where everyone that designed games finally understood the people that play video games. And so they kind of retooled how a lot of this stuff was done.
Games are growing up, is what you're saying, Jeremy, right? Games are growing up.
Yeah, we hit that phase where the people that grew up playing those games are making those games.
Yeah.
And I feel like this might have been just before that kind of leap where we still had these people they were like, I like a couple of these games and I want to make a game like that, but they haven't really seen all the games that are being made at the time, kind of thing. I don't know.
I say NES because a lot of the puzzles in here remind me of pre A Link to the Past Zelda puzzles. So
I mean, they're all like block puzzles. Like
block
what we get
puzzles,
are like block puzzles and
kill
switch
everything in
puzzles,
a
and
room
that's
puzzle. Yeah, it's early stuff. It's not elaborate Zelda puzzles.
it. So we get to Bomb Island, and this is a big island. There's a couple caves that you can go into. I did a lot of wandering in here. I actually like overlooked one cave, and I was lucky. Like I don't remember how I'm supposed to go. Like I had said before, I had played through this game just like 2 years ago, but I don't necessarily remember like, oh, this is the cave I need to go into. Because like I'm not gonna go back and even if I was looking fondly at this game to be like, oh man, Bomb Island, that was my favorite part.
Yeah, this game's it's tough to read. The
map is a little weird.
I mean, not just the map, but like nothing really stands out. Like it's tough to read the what you're seeing. Like, oh, I guess I remember being here before. I guess I remember this section. When I'm running in circles on Bomb Island or whatever island, I'm like, I sort of remember where I am after a while, but like it is like you have to run all over the damn map for a while before you're like you get a feel for everything because it just doesn't show you kind of what you should be looking for at all.
Especially with the caves. We'll come back in the next island,
and we haven't even gotten the bombs yet.
No, in the next island there was one part where I'm like, I want to get to this place, and I kept running in circles, but like I could not actually figure out where that place is, which is unfortunate. We didn't really mention. So this game is done in a very strange. The world is crafted in blocks, basically. It's just part of the design. It's not like it's built in Minecraft or something like that. But everything is like the geometry is blocky, and we can't jump, but we can find ways to get up high and then just sort of drop down to certain things. And there's a lot of secrets that are based on that.
Sometimes,
there's a height, he can only fall so far. So you have to actually be strategic about that. Where like, okay, there's this area I want to go to. If I can drop in a certain way that'll get me down there, then I can get to it. So yeah, we go into Bomb Island. They talk about there's a cave in here where it says don't go in without bombs. So you got to go and find the bomb maker, and you go and. It's again, like you said, it's hard to describe. We're in a lot of caves, and there isn't really anything distinct about these caves. You're on a cave. Sometimes I'll forget which island I was in when I was in the cave.
Yeah, it's like a mine almost, but it doesn't always look like a mine.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna go through this a lot with these as we play through this. I don't know. We went into a cave. We fought some things. We solved some puzzles. None of them really stuck out to me. Eventually, I got blank item. Right.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. I mean, and there's a centipede in here that people keep talking about. But it's blocked behind a wall. And didn't all the miners either die or run away because of said accident with centipede?
I think only one survived, or like one survived the initial encounter and then died somewhere else. But the whole thing is the bomb maker made them a bunch of bombs so that they could blow up this wall that they heard noises behind. They blew up the wall, and then they all fell into the centipede's lair.
Yeah.
Right.
Which,
poor them.
Yeah, smooth move, guys.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Great job.
Corbin, we need more bombs. Like 100 bombs. That quote from the game.
We've got, so there's like some puzzle you get somewhere that opens a gate that's in like shallow water, which is like still kind of hard to read. We don't have in our map is good in the way that it will show us where items are as soon as we get near them, and they'll permanently pop up on there, and you can see the chest is open or closed. So in terms of like item discovery, it's actually like not the most hard to read to be like, oh, there's clearly something I need here. I'm not saying how to get it.
Well,
What?
The map is a little tough to read because everything on the map is crammed into one loading area. And so sometimes the loading areas, when you walk through a door, the next room isn't beyond that room. It's somewhere else in the loading area. And on these big maps, like these big dungeons, especially the next one we'll get to, it jumped me all the way to I walked through a door in the southwest corner of the map, and it warped me all the way to the northwest corner of the map. And I was like, that treasure chest I was trying to look for forever in rooms that were on the northern side of the dungeon is now all the way, like, it was, the way to get to it was from down here.
But you still know where that treasure chest is on the map.
I guess so, but I can't find it.
That's
in the
all I
spot.
was trying to say.
Okay.
I know we've already been taught. Like, yes, I agree that in terms of like when you go into something, it's very hard to know where you're at any time.
Well, it's like a Mario Maker level. It's like you
magic
hide,
doors.
You hide everything on one screen because it's all that Nintendo gives you to create. But so your map is completely like it's like a what's the term for unreliable narrator practically. Like it's not telling you exactly what you need to know. It's sort of telling you everything. Like, hey, you missed a chest, but
yeah,
it's weird.
And here's the thing: like, not to say this excuses it. Most of the stuff that you're gonna find in those chests is not that important. You know, when you're talking about getting coins or XP, a weird thing that it does is that occasionally you can open up a chest and it'll give you coins. You can open up a chest and it'll give you a seashell that's worth 5 coins, and you just get the 5 coins.
Yeah, what's
you're not
up with
like
that?
picking up items to sell. They just put something else in there, and instead of it being 5 coins, it's a seashell, but it still does the same thing as 5 coins.
You found a toy train. Some child will surely give you 5 cents for this.
So here's the 5 cents now.
So here it is. Yeah, right. You don't have to go to like back to the store or anything like that. It's not like
if you were
Pokemon.
finding loot. Yeah, if you're finding loot that you could then like trade in, or like have some kind of trading sequences where you find special items that then you can give. You have to find the person that wanted it to do that. It's just like, okay, that'd be a bit more interesting. Not necessarily like fun for you to like, because we don't have necessarily distinct characters on here. It's not like you're gonna see, oh, that was the boy who wanted his train. You're just gonna be like, that was, I don't know, that was one of 3 people wandering around in one of the maps. I can't remember which one.
Sure.
So, yeah, we find a centipede-looking thing on there. It's like, you know, a bunch of segmented enemies, all like human centipeded together that then we break apart, and then you can take them out one by one, kill them all, and then after that we get a big chest, which gives us our bombs.
Yay!
Yep.
Here's the thing I'm going to tell you, and it is the most important piece of advice I'm going to give anybody that's playing this game. Bombs are OP. Chuck bombs at everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You also get a lot of bombs dropped. So
Yeah.
every time, like, it's honestly one of my favorite things is we're going to come across a big, it almost looks like the big moblins from Breath of the Wild, the big pink ones. Or no, I'm thinking, or like in
That's the hammers.
Yeah, with the hammers. Or am I thinking more of maybe Skyward Sword? Skyward Sword is the ones with like the big bellies or something like that. But those guys are a pain to deal with just your sword.
Mm-hmm.
You chuck 2 bombs at them, they're dead.
Yeah, bombs are like jars. They're like more powerful jars.
I'm not going to keep bringing it up, but there's going to be a lot of situations where if one of you are just like, yeah, this fight was a little hard for me, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I just chucked bombs at him, it was fine.
Yeah, throwing things at your enemies when possible is very beneficial in this game, especially because how enemies respond to getting hit and how stunning works is a bit wonky. So
yeah,
sometimes you're slashing an enemy and they just walk right through and stab you. So
Oceanhorn isn't a hack and slash, it's a huck and chuck.
yeah.
BC, you got to stop taking drinks when I'm about to make a joke.
He's on one, dude. We got to be careful. Yeah, the centipede fight drops you straight onto a pile of like a raised platform full of jars and skulls that for you to just wipe the centipede out with. Like I just picked up all of them, and I only
Using
had
a
to like
skull is pretty funny too.
Yeah,
just like picking up some dead person, where it's just like this
the thing
killed
that
this
killed
person,
that
but,
person.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, or just like I will avenge you, skull. Ah, crash.
By disrespecting you, I am setting you free.
Mm-hmm. We get our bombs. We make our way out of here. Do we get a heart container in this?
Probably.
I think so.
Okay, I think this is I think we do get a heart container. I don't know if we've gotten enough. I don't think we've been able to find enough heart pieces to get a full heart.
I don't think so. I've been all over this game.
I don't think we've talked about that. Yeah, what is it? 4 heart pieces gives you a heart. You can find heart containers. This is a Zelda-like.
Yeah.
Maybe I just have not been paying attention. I thought that every time you picked up one of those heart things, it gave you a heart. But I also have been grabbing them and being like, okay, cool. Didn't need
there's
that.
Full, and then there's partials.
Okay.
Heart parts.
We can we got the bombs. We can go back to Tickerel, and there's like a thing that we can blow up, and there's a couple little things that you can find in there. But really, what we need to go to next are the Withered Lands. This is where we were told to go by the hermit. And he said something about like, oh, there's a thing hidden in there for what you need. But this is still just a detour for where we need to go for the forest shrine.
Yeah, when he tells us about the land that the spiritual stones or whatever they call them in this game are being kept, he tells it the first area, he's like, the earth stone will be found here, and it pans across basically that tile set of the withered island.
That's a good
yeah.
I feel bad, like, again, it's an older game, like, who knows, but like, yeah, when you talk about some of these kind of games where it's like, I'm sure someone put their heart and soul into it, and then you talk about it like it's a Mario Maker level.
It does look like it just that it's very distinct. It's very distinct.
Well, it's funny. There is actually a game. So this was a mobile game. There's actually a game that just recently came out on Apple Arcade called Wonder Box that is just like make your own Zelda game like this.
Okay.
And it's funny, like it actually looks very similar to this. I don't think they're actually connected to each other. But anyway, we go to the Withered Lands. And, we get there. This is where you're going to want to just chuck bombs like crazy. As soon as we get into there's this area that blocks our way that you got to blow up. I don't like how it is unclear what is bombable and what isn't.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
There's no cracked walls.
No. No, you just have to throw bombs down. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't like the ambiguity around what you can bomb and what you can't bomb. I don't like the ambiguity around when you can push a box all 4 directions and when you cannot push a box all 4 directions.
Fair. So
yeah.
This is another place we run into like these. I mean, they're like orc looking characters, but they're
weird.
I
think they call them goblins, right?
Are they sure?
The little
goblins.
ones are definitely goblins. I don't know if they have a name for the bigger goblins. I think we start getting no, that might be the next area.
Oh wait, let's take a break. Hey there, just Jeremy here for our Patreon plug, talking about patreon.com/chat of the wild. Go there for as little as $1 a month. You can help support us and you get access to a number of cool things like getting on to our Discord. We have a free Discord, but we also have a paid Discord that gets you access to more of the channels where we talk about special stuff. We got some great people on there. It's a lot of fun. You get alerts when Brian does any of his streaming stuff, which you can find over on Twitch at Luigi's Apartment. Just search for that and you'll find him there. He's on there about 3 times a week at least. whether it is streaming whatever Zelda game that we are currently playing, or whatever side quest game we're playing, or just whatever he feels like. He's got some interactive things that you can do to help humiliate him on his stream. So go ahead, check it out. Search Luigi's Apartment on Twitch. You'll find it there. Subscribe, do all that stuff. We also have, for our patrons, the monthly side quest episode. That is where we will play a game that is picked by the patrons. This month we have been playing Bloodborne. At the end of the month, we record an episode talking about it, and really we leave it open for the patrons to play alongside us. We put up a poll at the end of the month for the following month. Patrons get to pick what we play. We encourage you to play alongside us, and it's a lot of fun. So be sure to check out our Patreon. We have some other goals on there. Check it out. Patreon.com/chatofthewild. There's a couple other shows that myself and Brian do. I have Podcast Advance, a show that goes through the library of the Game Boy Advance. It only has launched about a month ago. It's been a lot of fun. I've had some great guests on there. This week I have Mike Drucker, comedian, writer, former Nintendo Treehouse writer. He came on to talk about Namco Museum with me. It was a lot of fun. I've been a big fan of his for a long time, so it was really awesome to get him on there and just chat with him. Had some other great people on there, like Craig Harris, co-founder of IGN, and Twitter personality Stealth40K, talking about Super Mario Advance. Great people on there. A lot of Greenlit podcast people on there as well. Really fun time. Check it out. Podcast Advance. Find it on your podcast players. Also, Brian does a show called Need for Speed Running. It's a newer show every month. Him and a few other people talk about speedrunning things. Whatever is the popular topic of the month. They launched talking about the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and all the speedrunning strategies that they have right there. I'll be honest, I'm not big on speedrunning, so I don't know any of these terms. But if you like speedrunning, this is a great podcast to check out, because the people on there know what they're talking about, and they have a lot of fun talking about it. So check it out. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to some other great Greenlit podcast shows.
Hey there, this is Jeremy Parrish, and if you're a fan of classic video game soundtracks, or if you just love 20-minute rock epics about war-ready armadillos that battle Catholicism, you should listen to Alexander's Ragtime Band. Join the power trio of myself, Elliot Long, and James Eldred each month as we talk about the most pretentious music of all, progressive rock, right here on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
That was a fun break. So, we are on the Witherlands. We're going to fight some goblins. We're going to chuck a bunch of bombs. It's the best way to do it. Is to chuck bombs at everything. We're gonna
throw everything.
Times.
Throw everything at everything.
Yeah, we're gonna get
Huck
some
and
coins.
chuck.
We also get one of the things that when we level up, we get a bigger bomb bag.
Yeah,
Why not?
Yeah, when you level up, yeah.
This stuff comes from levels, not something you find.
Not side quests. Not there aren't anything. It's just keep fighting things. Eventually, you'll get more stuff, and it's like, okay, I don't hate that, but I wish there was a bit more to it.
Is there any indicator of what the next level will give you? Because I didn't see one. You just see what your current level is, and you see you got blue gems, like how many blue gems you have toward a level.
Okay, you can always just go on to Google and type in Oceanhorn level guy. No, I'm kidding. I would never suggest. No, that's just joking. It's just not in this game. And especially with that pumpkin shooter that we got, where we left and it was just what can we do here? Oh, you just needed to level up, and then you can shoot stuff as you're sailing between islands now.
I think
which is a fun distraction.
I think they at least left the spiky explodey things out until you got your gun, and then they introduced those in. So they're like, well, we're not going to just destroy them, but they will run into boxes.
Now, maybe you'll get like me from here on out, where as soon as I start sailing, I'm just smashing the shoot button in all different directions, so I never even see what those things are.
It looks like Contra on my screen, man.
Yeah, I'm just like Rambo out here, just like, as soon as I get on the boat, I'm just like, no one get near me.
It looks
I don't
looks
want
like
to get
the
close.
Aerosmith game. Yeah. I'm just trying to escalate it.
Yeah. Anyways, Withered Lands. We wander around until we come across this Oru is the owl people,
I believe. Yeah.
and he's locked in a cage. Now, if you get near him, I got some weird thing that happened where he started talking to me before I like really was there to engage with him, where he was just like, "What? You've never seen an Oru before?" And I'm like, who said that? I
Hi.
don't even know who said. Oh, it's that thing in the cage that I can't really tell what it is right now because of the angle that it's at. It's a weird. So we have a lot of switch puzzles, and some of the switches you have to push are invisible. And this is in order to open his cell. That is one of the puzzles where there is a block you push over to a certain area, and it even drops down like half an inch when you get on there to see be like, here, you pressed the button down. And then there's one somewhere else up on a ledge next to it that you have to circle all the way around the geometry to push it down on top of there.
I mean, there was like a little path in the blocks heading
There's a
towards
pattern, yes.
But yeah, you just like, I guess I'm going to push blocks because I've been doing that. I think we push statues here too, right?
We do afterwards.
Okay. That one's weird.
We meet our new friend Rigger, and he tells us he is the last of his kind.
Yeah.
He makes a big deal about it. Let's not forget that he makes a big deal about it.
He won't shut up about it. We get it. You're the last of your kind. It's impossible for you to mate with anybody. Wow.
Why are you always focused on that part of your life?
Right.
I watched my brother die on the battlefield in a far-off war. Jeez, man.
He tells us, okay, there's this thing that you can go to that'll tell you where you need to go. You scratch his back, he'll scratch yours. And that involves moving some statues. He basically disappears. He says, "I'll be by the statues. I'll leave that up to you to figure out where that is."
Like, thanks, buddy.
It is on this island.
Super helpful.
It could very well been on a different island.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it is on this island.
You forgot to say the name of a place in bold red text. Come back.
I'll meet you there at 4:00. Bye. Wait, which time zone? Anyway,
Bird standard.
Bird standard time. Obviously. So we go all the way through here. He basically shows up at the statue area. We move some statues again onto invisible buttons, but there are there's these three statues, and there are squares around them.
Yeah,
they don't look like buttons.
They're like,
that's what we got to push them on.
They're like spots in the ground where plants are starting to sprout out of the cracks.
Yeah.
Like that's what you get. Like there's three spots like that, and if I hadn't just magically pushed the first one I picked happened to be right in front of one of those spots, and if that hadn't happened, I probably would have been like, I don't know what they want. Done this an hour later.
That was literally it. I was pushing one of the statues and it went over the grass, and it's like, oh, I'm supposed to put the statues on the grass, I guess.
The statue does a little hop when you put it in the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
And
it'll cut over to, like, when you go over that spot, it'll cut over to the gate so you can see it.
Yeah. Which is a strange thing because we get a few of these where you have to push two buttons down. And when you push the first one, it jumps over to the gate as if to be like, no, not yet.
At least it does that. At least it's like, hey, this interacts with the world. What you just did has an effect. Instead of just you pushed it once and you don't know what, if anything, happened.
Right. Sure, that's an NES style puzzle where
Mhm.
you just don't you push around things and it's like, oh, there's 3 of them you have to do, and you have no idea if you're actually completing anything.
Yeah,
Um,
puzzles in here do not get very elaborate.
no. So we do all that, and we open up the gate for him. He can fly. I don't know why he needed our help.
We
And
had to have the courage to open the gate, Jeremy.
sure. And we open it up, and that basically just takes us to his house, and he walks over to a grave.
New loading zone too.
Uh, sh- okay, sure. There's
Wow.
not really. I don't think there's anything important around here in terms of like our quest. You know, it's his stuff. It's important to him. I'm not trying to diminish his personal items.
I mean, yeah, his
but it's
dead
not
friend,
important to us.
he and his dead friend's house, or is that supposed to be his brother, or is that another character that's dead?
I think one's supposed to be his brother, and I think
Okay.
there's 2 gravestones, right?
I thought there was just one in front of a tree. Maybe
I
there
don't
were
remember.
2.
I don't remember.
I thought I remember seeing 2, and one was like a brother, and then the other one was just like worn beyond.
Oh yeah, well
recognition.
you couldn't see. Yeah, was that here?
Was that
or
here?
I think that may have been somewhere else.
It may have been on one of the many landscapes that runs together in this game. Uh,
So he tells us, "Oh, thanks for doing all this stuff for me. Here are the GPS coordinates for the where you have to go. I keep them on me at all times."
Yeah.
And he gives us a spell.
Right.
Oh,
He
yeah.
gives us. So this is.
I was
I don't
surprised by
know.
this.
It's useful, but it also is just real clunky and it's kind of strange. This is like a summoning spell that you can summon a rock from the sky, and you can
Or a
whenever you
skull.
do it,
Or a
or
stool.
something to chuck at somebody. And whenever you do it, it makes a weird sound. Everything slows down, and then a hand cursor appears on the screen where you can select the thing. Now, again, this was a mobile game, so it was probably like pause, tap on what you want to hit. It'll chuck a thing at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is strange on here. It's also like a little hard to tell levels on certain things, where if you want to hit a thing, you got to make sure you are like tapping the pixel that is it. That if you're off a little bit, it may think that it's at a different distance,
Or if
something like that.
something's like slightly under an overhang or up too close to a wall or something like that, it will bounce off of the top of the wall and go flying off in a different direction.
Again, this is useful, but
I
not
had-
necessarily like, oh man, this is cool.
I had hope for this power up. I was like, they might be able to do some cool puzzles with something like this. No.
Yeah, it's really more useful for when we're going to be fighting like flying enemies, if they're just like hard to get around, like hard to get up to if you just want to kill them and get them out of the way.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, if there's a switch somewhere you can't reach, you can drop a rock on it.
Yeah, which is nice. So, we also do come across let's just call it a currency, or it's a collectible item.
Oh,
There's these red stones.
yeah.
That you can find around, and for whatever reason, you have to hit them with your sword 47 times before they drop.
I'm glad
so
I found
many times. Enough times that you think that hitting them with your sword doesn't do anything.
Right. I'm glad
The
that I
sound
stuck it
effect-
out.
The sound effect progresses.
I didn't hear that at first until I had cut one of these down already and realized that I could. But I'm glad I stuck it out because I did the same thing with trees and like the deadwood logs too, where I was like, something's got to break. This tree's tiny, and I hit it for a while and nothing ever happened. So I'm glad I was just like, we'll see. Maybe this is just another thing that I can't actually cut.
I went around and found a ton of these things, and I went back to the
Yeah.
the Zora-esque dude under Tikkarel, and he's like, oh yeah, you have bloodstones. You just don't have enough. I'm not going to tell you how many you need to have so that you can get that many and then return to me. Just, show up randomly, and I'll let you know if you get anything for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top. I cannot remember what he gives us. I think it's something good. I think it might be
It's a seashell sword.
I think it may be like a powerful sword or something like that. But I think you have to collect all of them to get that from him. So you've got to do a lot before you get there.
I'm not
I
doing
still
any of
think
that.
I still am advising everyone to just chuck bombs at enemies. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea to go through all that. I did it. I 100% of this game. I just don't remember that part of it. I was looking closer at the trophies as opposed to what was actually happening in the game.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not 100%ing this game. I didn't 100% Turnip Boy, and I enjoyed that a lot more than I've enjoyed Oceanhorn. So,
if you want to hear more about Turnip Boy and what we thought of it, be sure to join our Patreon over at patreon.com/chatofthewild. So, we have that location now, so we can head on over to the, what is it called? The Forest Temple or the Forest Shrine. And this is the dungeon, right? Like we get into here and this is like, there's not another town here or anything. It's basically when we step foot off our boat, this island is our dungeon, really. But as I said before, y'all remember much that stuck out on this?
Zelda 1.
I'll tell you this. I remember one of the first things that we see when we get to this island is there's a target that's like across a gap and there's a gate. And so you clearly have to hit this target to open this gate. And what did we just get 25 seconds ago? A spell that lets you hit things from a distance.
Yeah.
Does that spell work? Absolutely not.
Because they're not sharp enough. You need to throw something that maybe has like a sharp end to it.
I'm just saying, if I just got a thing, I'm going to start using that thing. And I know maybe that
I'll
not
push
all
back
games
on
have to
that.
be beholden to that logic, but if we're going by Zelda-esque games, if you're going to give me an item and 20 seconds later, I have a situation where I can use that item, maybe make it so I can use that item.
I don't agree with that. We've gone through enough of these games where they have so many things that you're going to interact with that you get to a new area and it's just like, oh yeah, there's this thing you can't reach right now. You got a new item, but you don't have the item that you need yet. Like we get that plenty of times. You get those in Metroidvanias too.
Yeah,
I don't think that stands out that much.
But we haven't even had a chance to use the spell that we just got.
The other problem is that this spell is not like the bombs or other items that we're going to get. The spells are different, where the spells are more like to help you out of a certain situation than it is to unlock a new area for progression. Like, in the Zelda games, you would have something like, think of the spells like the spells in Ocarina, where, outside of one or two things to set a bunch of things on fire, the Din's Fire wasn't like a useful item outside of just fighting enemies. That's basically what this spell is as well. That's the only thing where I look at that when you bring that up. I'm just like, that's not out of the realm for Zelda. Like for you to go into a new area and there's like something that you can't do there.
I tried to use our cure spell immediately after getting it on the dolphin in Crystallis, and the dolphin was just like, I don't know what that does, and it was like, I just got a cure spell. You don't want me to use a cure spell, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like you'd think that that's what they want from you. I saw a target sign and was like, oh, we're getting a bow here. Okay, cool. Like that was what my logic was.
Well, my first thought was, oh, well, I have to hit the target, like I have to throw something. But then I was like, well,
Break
I just
the
got
targets,
this long-range spell. But
yeah, break the targets. Yeah,
sure. I get it, but I don't think you are wrong for thinking that way. But I don't think this is standout for specifically this game. I think we've played plenty of games that have the same kind of logical issues. So a couple of things that stuck out to me in this one here is we do get a lot of lowering and raising water levels. Not quite like water dungeon things, but you hit a switch, lowers water, you can go to one area, hit a switch, raises water, lets you swim over some things to go to a different area. You don't go back and forth in that. It is a one-way thing. When you have done that, that room is now flooded forever. You're not going to necessarily miss anything. I think they don't put treasure chests that you can just like not get to anymore.
Yeah.
But that I was like, okay, that's fun because you can go down into an area and you didn't necessarily know. Oh, how am I going to get up to there? Obviously, I'm going to flood this place because it just didn't seem like that. So when you do it, it does. It's just like, oh, interesting. Okay. This is, I don't know. It's a dungeon. You run around, you find keys. It's a Zelda-like game. It is the most Zelda-like game I felt like we've played it for a little while. That is just clearly trying to be like, we're making our own Zelda and we're going to make dungeons and we're going to do all this stuff here. And it is just a lot of that. You go to a room, you fight some enemies. Either an enemy has a key floating above its head that when you kill it, you get it, or there's a key in a random treasure chest. Now, this is where we do run into that issue. There are not designations for treasure chests on if it's going to have a useful key item or if it's going to be 20 coins or something like that. But I would argue all that stuff at this point is still useful. We're not at that point where in other Zelda games where you're annoyed that you keep getting rupees or whatever, or like, oh, I've got more bombs. Well, I was already full on bombs. So at least in this case, the stuff you're getting is like, well, this is useful for later, probably.
And this does have some of the classic, falling through floors to progress to the next area shenanigans.
Which is not, yeah, it's really hard to read on that. We've had to do that. Do we have to do that? I don't know if we had to fall through some spaces before this point. I know you could, but it isn't clear necessarily if there's a hole in the ground that is just like, oh, that's a grotto that you want to go down into, as opposed to, am I just going to rub against an invisible wall that's surrounding this hole?
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
so I'll just go around it anyway.
Yeah, we had that in the bomb island because it was built on a mine. So there were mine shafts that had collapsed in the overworld segment too. So a lot of dropping down, which that's fine. That's Zelda. That's Zelda to me.
Yeah. Our mid boss on here is a giant vine. Well, I guess it looks like a tentacle, but it's like a plant tentacle. So
A vine.
A vine, yeah. It's not a vine like a tiny little vine growing near a great or an orchard or something like that. But
it's part of the boss.
Sure.
It's like, it's just one of the boss's vines, and then later we fight the boss with a lot more of those vines. But this is just like a one that's over here, away from it.
I chucked a couple bombs at him and he was gone.
Huck and Chuck.
That's all I did.
I clear everything. Every jar they give me is thrown before I use any of my items.
And there's like another tiny mid-boss-esque fight here where you walk into an area and a guy just yells, "This is a sacred land."
I must have missed that. Was it vocal?
I can't remember if there's voice acting for it, but there's text for it.
Okay.
And he says, "This is sacred ground or sacred land," something to that effect.
Oh, right. And it's an Oru.
Oh, yeah,
It's another Oru.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember those.
They're all supposed to be dead.
Yeah. Which, again, I find it so... Every time I'm playing this game, I think this is what makes me like this game. Not like in general. It's like, oh, this is the reason I like it. But this is something that makes me like the game. Is that I will be doing this every time I come across a boss. If it's any person... If I'm fighting an individual, it's one thing fighting a monster where they don't know what's going on, but it's another when someone shows up and they're just like, "This is a sacred land, you're not supposed to be here, I'm an ancient warrior of this thing," and then you're like, "I'm just gonna throw a bunch of bombs at your face." Like they're over here like, "I've been training for what is that?" And then just get blown up in the face. It's Looney Tunes to me, right? Like, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, the thing about this fight that bothered me is it felt, I think this is where you can see it feels like a mobile game, is it felt like the guy was just in the room doing stuff as opposed to me fighting an enemy. Like
he's like, I'm going to practice karate in the corner.
His sword, but it just felt like there was like this guy in the room swinging a sword around that I happened to have to kill versus a guy in the room swinging a sword toward me. Like he was just like wandering around.
Yeah. It's again, I didn't spend enough time with this guy to notice that stuff because I just knew immediately. Like, yeah, like I said, I just chucked bombs in his face. I wasn't paying attention to anything except for like where he was. Like, what's the location? Which direction do I need to be pointing in before I press this button?
It's like the old Simpsons clip where Bart is just swinging his arms in huge circles, and he's like, "If you get hit, it's your fault." That was this entire boss fight, like this entire mini boss fight.
No, it's like your
anyways,
roommate after he goes to the flea market. Like, I'm gonna practice with this sword in the corner now, and don't get near me.
So, anyways, we fight that tentacle. And it unlocks an area. We go up with this thing. It's kind of strange how they don't you don't beat a boss and then immediately are rewarded with a thing. You'll beat a boss and it'll open a door and you go do another puzzle or something like that. And then there's a room that has the treasure chest with your special item in it. We get the bow and arrow. And so it's strange the way you have to switch items. We don't have like an item screen. We don't bring up an item screen and equip our stuff. We use the D-pad to alternate items. BC,
you can use the D-pad?
You do? Oh, what? How are you doing it?
I'm pressing start and going and selecting the item.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Use a D-pad.
Oh.
That makes way more sense.
Okay.
Press. Yeah, I didn't think you could do that. So
you absolutely can, and that's
we all equip it differently.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was like, I don't have another button here with which to have two weapons out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a tip for you. The bow and arrow lets us hit those targets, and those targets are just a new kind of switch that opens a thing. It doesn't dramatically change how we go about this game.
Yeah.
It's just now we can press this button that we couldn't press before. Opens up new things. Again, as soon as I do what I need to do with the bow and arrow, switch back to bombs. And so, I don't know. This is kind of disappointing. Bow and arrow is like one of the best Zelda items. It's top tier for sure. And this one is like,
no, give me the bombs back, please.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
Just let me just blow things up. We wander around a bit more. I do find it interesting. You can actually find switches. Sometimes they hide them in the scenery, like with the grass or whatever the coral that's built up around here. There's like these pink coral looking things. And sometimes if you slash them, a button will appear. So it really does want you to destroy all the land around you to make sure you didn't miss anything. Just salt the earth as you go through.
Well, I mean, I'm already cutting everything down I possibly can anyway, so.
Right. Got to get that money.
Occasionally you'll see something hidden like, oh, there's a thing beyond that wall. I wonder if there's a way to drop, maybe to drop down to it. I'll just put a bomb here, and then there's a hidden wall.
Right.
So it's like, you should know because there's something in the wall, but yeah, I don't know. That bombing walls in this game is infuriating.
Sure. I don't even know. Can you clank your sword against it?
I don't think so.
I wonder. I'm going to try that next time. But I guess it'll only be if I know that I'll be able to bomb it. I need to test that.
Exactly.
Because I'm not going to be hitting everything. If I could get 99 bombs, I'll just chuck bombs at everything. I'll just walk every time I take a step, chuck a bomb in 4 different directions, right?
But in order to gain bomb upgrades, you have to grind enemies. It's not a thing where I can look up on Google, hey, where's the bomb bag? Because I want more bombs right now.
The bomb bag was inside of you all along.
Yeah, it was a gift from the Adventurers Guild, which is a physical place, but it's just it just seems to be an explanation for the leveling system. It's like, yeah, we'll send you an email when you hit a new level, and that'll have a bomb bag in it.
It's run by one guy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even have a personality. He's like, oh, you're an adventurer? You're going to need my tips.
They're on the wall. Look at them. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the know-it-all brother in this game. He's like, yep, I got books. Read my books.
I'm just imagining going to a college class and then you just get in there and the professor's just like, look at the walls. Look at the walls.
Everyone get in line and read the walls.
I only have 2 things that I can say. That's the other thing. You have to talk to people multiple times because I didn't realize that some of them have multiple dialogue things. So, yeah. Like, oh, you had a new thing to tell me, and I didn't know. I've been walking around this town all day, and okay, cool. Cool game.
Anyways, back at the dungeon. After we go through all of this, we eventually get to this point where we are outside of the shrine, climbing up the stairs to the top, and there's this like gravestone at the very end of it, and you're just like, okay, this is what a beautiful ancient land. I'm gonna blow it up because they want you literally to just drop a bomb down.
Yeah,
and it'll blow up the area below it, and that's how you get into the boss. It's strange. It's a strange choice for sure.
I honor your death by destroying you.
Also, but yeah, we just got the arrow. Why aren't we doing anything with the arrow to get into the last area? Like, why are we doing bombs here? You know?
Because bombs are bae.
Yeah. This is where we fight Termo. This is or Termos, maybe. I can't remember. Termos is what's that the Final Fantasy thing? The Marlboro
Marlboro, yeah.
Yeah, the big thing with the giant mouth.
Yep.
It's just like this, yeah. That is like the main thing, and then there are plant vines coming out of the ground, moving all around. And you have to take out each of those vines before you can actually do any damage to him. And then when you do that, he will be powering up, or no, he'll be like sucking you in. But when he does that, he also has like this glowing core that is exposed.
Mm-hmm.
Just asking to be bombed. And
as if they had to like telegraph it more.
Right.
Like throw your bombs here. He's inhaling. Throw your bombs here. Oh.
You were going to try and throw bombs already, but make sure you throw bombs here.
Yeah,
right.
At this glowing tongue orb.
Yeah. And you just do that a bunch of times. Like, there's no second phases in this or anything. You just do that.
Hooray!
We kill him, and then I don't know, the shape that we were going after, the magic shape, starts talking
spiritual
to
stone.
us.
Yeah,
the spiritual stone. It's not a triangle, all right? It's a different shape.
It's not an emerald.
There's other shapes, okay?
It's princess cut. Get it right.
And it just basically says, like, you know, didn't it say something like, I wish it didn't have to go this way or something like that? They were like, I don't remember. It tells us, you know, oh, we are going to help you save the day, yada, yada, yada.
Between this game and Mario Golf, I've been skipping a lot of dialogue the last weekend, so I don't know. I can't tell. I can't remember which game it was.
It was a god. It got imprisoned as a stone and by the dude.
He's the stone man.
Yeah. And now we got to save the world. I mean, we get the gist.
Sure. And that is where we are going to wrap up this episode. For the next episode, we are going to be just going to the next dungeon, which means you probably have to go to 4 other islands. It is not clear. It is not going to be clear specifically the path you need to go on. But you got to talk to people. You got to do all these things. You got to have an adventure.
It's going to be a water-themed thing that we're heading towards at the very least. We can at least say that. We know that from the Hermit. So
yes.
So be on the lookout for that. So go ahead, BC.
No, nothing. I'm still getting over the fact that we're in a game in the ocean and one of the biomes is still water.
Fair. It's fair.
Maybe we'll get there and it'll be ice.
Do that, get the next element, talk to people, unlock things, power up, make the Adventure Guild happy.
I was gonna say the adventure is other people, so you know.
So go have your adventure. Meet back here, and we'll talk about it on Chat of the Wild.
Gaiden.